على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. All right, so today we have Hamza 3.0. Because now we got Hamza in the chat and we got two Hamzas in attendance. So now we're going to have another poll election to find out what's. I go for the new Hamza. What do you guys say? We vote for the new Hamza. All right, to take over all the Hamzas of the world, right? It doesn't matter. Nobody's probably online right now, so I have to go back and rewatch this.
I need to send a message in the group.
All right, so Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala al-Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala. We are in Bab Ta'allamu min ansabikum ma tasiluna bihi arhamakum. Wa alaykum salam wa barakatuh. Wa alaykum salam wa barakatuh. So, Bab Ta'allamu min ansabikum ma tasiluna bihi arhamakum. So, this is the chapter on learning from your lineage. There's girls back there. That's the female section. Yeah. I don't know if there's anybody back there, but that's normally. Huh? Just you can pray here in the back, because sometimes the girls are going to be in and out from back there. So, all right. So he said, learn from your lineage, from ansab. So ansab, it goes back to what? Your lineage. So learn from your lineage what helps you to keep ties of kinship. Now, of course, this is very, very important, and this is a major aspect of like knowing one's lineage, and this is something that the kuffar have constantly sought to destroy. They and this is the whole point of like just allowing a lot of people coming into the country, mixing it, because it destroys the lineage and it destroys the people's knowledge of where they came from and who they are. And once you destroy that, then the person has no history. If the person has no history, then what? Most of the people, they don't have deen, right? So there's always like different stages, right? You have the deen, that's number one. Once they can get the people away from the deen, what's the next thing they do?
The country.
Well, no, first off is the destruction of the family. To get you away from the identity of your family and who you are, what tribe you're from. So that's why you see like the Arabs, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected this amongst the Arabs. And not just the Arabs. I mean, you see like even, you see this from the Somalis. Huh?
Want to go open the door?
What?
Girls knocking.
Mujahid. يا مجاهد أرسل واحد من الأطفال يفتحون الباب. يفتح الباب not يفتحون الباب أرسل واحدا. All right. So yeah, you see this like in Somalia. You see like the people they have just keep an eye on that green light. If you see that green light go out, let me know, because that means that the microphone's not working. So the tribal societies, you see that they have a strong connection with their lineage and where they come from. But the Western societies have been what? And just, this has been buried. So if, you could ask the average American to go. Just run, just open the door and go back. Open the door and iftah al-bab wa ijri.
Someone said, on top.
So if you talk to the average American, not just the average American, the average Westerner. Hey, where are you from?
Here.
Well, like that's your origin.
Yeah.
Can you name five grandfathers back? That's what I'm saying. The average American would not even know five. They probably couldn't go past their grandfather. And a lot of the people, their great grandfather, I would say half and half could probably name their great grandfather. The great grandfather, nothing. Exactly. So once you've lost that part of you, and this is what they seek to destroy. So imagine that you have the family, you have everything available to you, but they try to erase that. So this is always the second thing. First they get you away from your deen, then they get you away from whatever family, tribe, or whatever it is, and then they're going to take away your recognition of even the country, because anything that you can recognize yourself from, and that's how you get control. And this is what the kuffar constantly throughout history, they fought against this. fought against family, fought against all these types of things. But you see, like alhamdulillah, Allah's blessed the Arabs. The Arabs used to know the lineage of their camels. And this still exists even till today in some places in Mauritania, where they know their camel, where their camel came from, and where the camels that their camel came from, like the actual lineage of their camel. They could tell you the type of camel that this camel came from. You understand? So, and also their lineage, like, they could sit back and tell you, like, probably 15 great grandfathers back throughout their lineage. But the average American couldn't even go 4 or 5. What about you? You're Yemeni.
I know my grandfathers.
Go. Let's see how far you can go. Hamza ibn Aman.
No, Hamza, Mustafa, Muhammad, Mis'ad, Saleh, Yahya. That's from what I know.
Well, that's at least 5, right?
6.
6, there you go. I said at least 5.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go. But like, ask the average American. But if you ask, but here's the thing though. Look at the Arabs who get involved in Western culture. Ask them to name 5 grandfathers. They can't do it. A lot of them, they can't do it. It's the same because they get involved in this Western culture and they lose that whole family identity. So Allahumma musta'an. So here, Bab Ta'allam. All right, so learning from your lineage, whatever is going to help you maintain ties of kinship. So حدثنا عمرو بن خالد قال حدثنا عتاب بن بشير عن إسحاق بن راشد عن الزهري قال حدثني محمد بن جبير and إسحاق ibn Rashid. Those two, حدثنا عتاب بن بشير and إسحاق ibn Rashid, their hadith is accepted. And they said, as far as Ishaq ibn Rashid, that he has some mistakes with the narrations from Az-Zuhri. And here he narrated the hadith from Az-Zuhri. But you go back into Tabi'. That means that you follow, Zuhri had a whole bunch of students, right? So obviously he's not going to be the only one who narrated this hadith, right? So if you go and you look at the other students of Az-Zuhri, and you see that they narrated the hadith in a similar fashion that he narrated the hadith, then what? We accept the hadith or we don't accept it? We accept it because it's in line with the other students that are accepted from Az-Zuhri. But if we see that he did some mukhalafa, like he maybe the wording or something, he narrated something a little bit different and changed something on accident, and at that point we won't accept it until we have another student from Az-Zuhri. So you have to follow up with his hadith when he narrates from Az-Zuhri. But he's saduq. Saduq means what?
Like someone who's very truthful.
No, saduq in the mustalahat of Ahl al-Hadith, it just means he's like Hasan al-Hadith. Like, his hadith is like maqbul. It's like one of those, you got saduq, maqbul. These are like, now he's going like to the lower levels of the hadith being accepted. All right, but in this case, this hadith is Hasan. So this, so they followed it up with the other students of Az-Zuhri, and this narration is correct. So قال حدثني محمد بن جبير بن مطعم أن جبير بن مطعم أخبره أنه سمع عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه يقول على المنبر تعلموا أنسابكم ثم صلوا أرحامكم والله إنه ليكون بين الرجل وبين أخيه الشيء ولو يعلم الذي بينه وبينهم من داخلة الرحم لأوزعه ذلك عن انتهاكه. All right, so here this is a statement of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And he said this on the minbar. What is the minbar? That's not technically a minbar, but yeah. That's like a stage, I don't know. Minbar is the 3 steps. Where the Prophet ﷺ used to give the khutbah on the 3 steps. That's a minbar, but this, I don't know. It's not really. Wouldn't fall under the guise of a minbar, even though there are 3 steps though. Yeah. All right. تعلموا أنسابكم. So here Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu said, learn your lineage. ثم صلوا أرحامكم, and then connect your ties of kinship. والله إنه ليكون بين الرجل وبين أخيه الشيء. So he said, he swears by Allah. He said, I swear by Allah that there will be a problem between one man and his brother. Here it doesn't mean his brother is what? Well, he could actually mean his actual brother, but أخوة الإسلام. All right, so his brother something like they have some type of issue where they're arguing, He said, وَلَوْ يَعْلَمُ الَّذِي بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَهُ مِنْ دَاخِلَةِ الرَّحْمِ. And if he knows that there's that connection of what? Of kinship between them, what's that going to do? And he said, لَأَوْزَعَهُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ انْتِهَاكِهِ. لَأَوْزَعَهُ, it means لَيَمْنَعَهُ, that it will prevent him from transgressing or against his brother, against like violating the rights of his brother. You know, so if he knew, like for example, imagine that you're about to get into a fight with somebody. You don't know this guy, but then you're about to fight him, like you're really angry, right? And then one of your family members comes up and says, hey, wait, man, that's our cousin. And then what happens? You say, all right, let's squash it, right? It's over. And now that you know that what? This guy's family. So this is obviously, again, this is in a society where what? Huh? Yes or no, Abdul Malik? Huh? No, I mean, if somebody, one of the family members said, no, that's your little cousin, you wouldn't stop.
If he stopped, yeah, I'll stop. No, yeah, you know.
No, I'm saying both of you probably stop at the same time because you're going to be shocked, like, wait, we're family.
Oh, yeah, just like we didn't knew at all?
No, you didn't know.
Oh, yeah,
you're about to fight the guy,
yeah.
And then somebody runs up and said, that's your cousin, man. Leave him like, wait. Yeah, so you'd be like, oh, yeah, and that's it. You're going to fight him? Nah, that's your family now, you know. Yeah, once you know, so you see that knowledge of lineage, that knowledge of family, it prevents you from doing a lot of the things. It keeps you from violating the rights of people. So, and that's what he's saying, is to learn from your lineage. That helps you to keep those ties of kinship, you know, because, you know, you place that importance on family, you know, which is very, very difficult when we live in a society that what? Destroys family. You know, you try to like raise, you know, you're a father, right? Raising a family here and trying to keep that family identity here, not easy, is it? Yes, and trying to also, because you're from Palestine, yes, to keep, you know, to try to teach your kids where they came from, what their family, you know, like, you know, their family history, and for them to find importance in that is even more difficult because they're like,
they were born here, Sheikh, and I sent them back 6 years ago. Actually, I'm from Jerusalem, my mom and my dad, but I was born in Jordan. So we got kicked out in 1948, and they were born here, but they just came back in August last year.
so you grew up in Jordan.
Yeah.
You know Abu Qarqar. Yeah, you don't know him from he used to live in Los Angeles and Texas. Okay.
I've been here since '97.
I used to come back and forth to America. He's dead now, like but he used to go back and forth to like LA, Texas. There's one other brother. Who was it that knew him? Who's the brother that calls the adhan sometimes? The Palestinian brother.
I think his name's Ahmed, right?
Ahmed, yeah, Sheikh Ahmed, right? So yeah, he knows him because he's the one that told me, like, yeah, I saw your video. You spoke about Abu Qarqar. He said, you know Abu Qarqar? I was like, yeah, of course, Los Angeles. So yeah, he knew him. But I mean, back to the important thing, the family identity, very difficult. Maintaining the culture, maintaining, and it's not the maintenance of it is not important. It's not the difficulty. The difficulty is, and most of the kids that grow up in the West, they just don't care about this stuff. They don't care. Like, I remember when my father used to tell me all this stuff, you know, about the family, because my father, he was real hardcore about this stuff. He kept like all the papers, everything, you know. And my father was like very, very meticulous, you know. Every single paper about the family, he could trace the family back to this, you know, 1600s when, you know, the first Sutton came to America. You know, he knew all this stuff, right? And I'm like, man, you're stupid. You know, like, you know, that was my attitude as a child. But then when I grew up and then I studied Islam and then I started to see the importance of this, and then my father died, then what happens, I started doing the same thing that he was doing. Because then once I realized in Islam, like when we're reading the biographies and we're reading everything of these narrators, like subhanAllah, I started to realize the importance. But then I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm learning about all these people, but who am I? You know what I'm saying? Where do I come from? Like, well, I don't even know myself first to know the lives of everybody else. So, I mean, that's important that the person at least has an identity. And that's the one thing that they can't take away from you. You know what I'm saying? So they try to take that away from you. So you got to be careful about it. And you see, even Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu anhu, he stressed the importance of that. You know, learn your lineage, learn it. Know who you are, know where you came from, know this. You know, so this way nobody can ever come and tell you lies about you, lies about your family, lies about where you came from. You know, because the people they know. You know, so alhamdulillah, this knowledge of the people and their lineage, it protected a lot of ahadith that were lies of the Prophet ﷺ from entering into this deen. Because the people, they would look at the names and they would look at the narrators and they're like, this doesn't add up because this guy was alive like 200 years. How did he narrate the hadith? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, because the people, they didn't follow up on this stuff. They started making up hadiths, just throwing names and changing narrations. And then they go and look at the chain of narration, but this guy died 200 years before this guy. Where did he study hadith with him in the grave or something? Like, where did he, you know, but that knowledge. And that's what protected, you see, the protection of the deen through that knowledge. So the next hadith, حدثنا أحمد بن يعقوب قال أخبرنا إسحاق بن سعيد بن عمرو أنه سمع أباه يحدث عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أنه قال احفظوا أنسابكم تصلوا أرحامكم safe. It's تصلوا. Because here in the نسخة it says تصلوا with a fatha as a غلط. تصلوا. That's why you don't, you know, these books where they put the harakats, and don't. Tasilu. Wasala yasilu.
Yeah.
No, but here they put tasalu. That's what I'm saying. You can't rely on these harakat. تصلوا أرحامكم فإنه لا بعد بالرحم إذا قربت وإن كانت بعيدة ولا قرب بها إذا بعدت وإن كانت قريبة وكل رحم آتية يوم القيامة أمام صاحبها تشهد له بصلة إن كان وصلها وعليه بقطية إن كان قطعها. So this is on Ibn Abbas. Now this hadith is narrated by Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah here. He's narrating it what? Mawquf on Ibn Abbas. But the hadith came marfu'. And the hadith marfu' on Ibn Abbas is in the Sahih Musnad of Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah. So the hadith is authentic. It's authentic. It's authentic marfu' and it's authentic what? Mawquf. The chain of narration is authentic in both of them.
Shaykh al-Albani over here, he says وصح مرفوعا.
Yeah, it's marfu'. Okay, so he said the mawquf is not.
No, he doesn't say anything about mawquf.
Yeah, marfu'an is sahih. Ibn Abbas, he narrated this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right. So, but like I said, for whatever reason, Bukhari, he brought this narration, but it is authentic, marfu'. So, أنه قال احفظوا أنسابكم. احفظوا أنسابكم. What does that mean?
Be careful, like take care of your relatives.
It means remember or.
Well, like hifz is like a protection. Like, so when you memorize something, when you memorize something, you're protecting it, but it's not necessary that you have to memorize it, because a hifz can also be done through words.
Like picking who your wife is and who.
Yeah, but you could also write it down and keep it and protect it through, through like, keep it written and keep it, where, like protected in that manner. It's not just memorization. Yeah, but obviously memorization is one way. So he said, احفظوا أنسابكم تصلوا أرحامكم. He says, so protect your lineage and protect that knowledge that you have of your lineage, so you can what? So you can keep the ties of kinship, because you can't keep the ties of kinship if you don't know somebody's your family, right? So obviously you have to have those ties, that knowledge. He said, فَإِنَّهُ لَا بُعْدَ بِرَحِمْ إِذَا قَرُبَتْ. All right, he said that there's no distance for the rahim, and the rahim obviously is, the technical meaning is what? The actual meaning of the word rahim is the womb. But here it's talking about the ties of kinship, like فَإِنَّهُ لَا بُعْدَ بِرَحِمْ إِذَا قَرُبَتْ وَإِنْ كَانَتْ بَعِيدًا. All right, so if the person has knowledge of his lineage and where he comes from and the people of his family, then even if he's far, far away from his family, then what? He'll always be close to his family, even if he's far. Like the furthest, the distance is not because of what? Because of the distance between the two people, but the distance is the distance of what? You could be sitting right next to your cousin, but you don't even know he's your cousin. So what? So it's ba'id, right? It's important, even وَلَوْ كُنْتَ قَرِيبًا مِنْهُ, right? So وَإِنْ قَرَبَتْ بَعُدَتْ, because even though you're next to him, you don't even know he's your cousin. So because you don't have that knowledge of who your family is, so what? It's like khalas, it's like he lives in China right now. You don't know who he is. So that's what he's saying. بِرَحِمْ إِنْ قَرَبَتْ وَإِنْ كَانَتْ بَعِيدَةً وَلَا قُرْبَ بِهَا إِذَا بَعُدَتْ وَإِنْ كَانَتْ قَرِيبًا. And the opposite is true. So having that knowledge of the family is what brings them close, even if you're in a whole nother country. I mean, I got in contact with my family that my father was doing. I told you, my father was doing all this lineage stuff. I contacted the people in North Carolina to put my father, because my father wasn't on the family tree. And I said, man, my father's been trying to do this his whole life, and they didn't even put him on there's a whole website that they dedicated to this, right? So I contacted the guy in North Carolina. I said, look, this is my grandfather, this is my father, this is my grandfather. And I said, we're cousins, right? So he said, all right, let me check. And he checked it, and he said, okay. He said, all I want is just put my father on the family tree. So then he did it. He put my father, then he put me, but he won't put my children. Saif Allah, Mujahid, Asadullah. He won't put the children. Because they're like real hard. Muslim? No, they're hardcore. Because my kids, they got Muslim names.
That's why.
Yeah. He told me, he contacted me back. He said, and by the way, I'll put you on the family tree too. I was like, me only? He said, yeah. And I didn't even want to go into it. So I said, all right, whatever. Because I don't care about it. I didn't want myself. I just wanted, my father, that was his whole thing, was to do that. So I was like, just put my father on it. He's your family, khalas. Me, I don't care about, to know it is enough for me. I don't need to be on that stupid, like the tree, But Allah musta'an, as soon as they found out, like the children, they said, no, there's still, that part of the tree is still empty. Miskeen.
In the previous hadith we just took, so فَأَوْزَعَهُ and then انتهاكها. What is انتهاكها?
Intihak is like to go and violate somebody's rights.
And what is أوزعه?
منعه. So he said after that, he said, when كان قريبا وكل رحم آتية يوم القيامة. And all the rahim, like the womb, so the womb represents what? The ties of kinship. It's going to come on the day of judgment. أمام صاحبها. So it's going to be in front of the person. The person where, that either kept the ties or what? Or cut the ties. تشهد له بصلة. So, and then this womb is going to bear witness whether or not the person maintained those ties of kinship. وَإِنْ كَانَ وَصَلَهَا وَعَلَيْهِ بِخَطِيَةٍ إِنْ كَانَ قَطَعَهَا. So if he was a person who maintained the ties of kinship, then the womb will bear witness on the day of judgment that what? That he maintained the ties of kinship. If he was the person that cut off those ties of kinship, then what? Then the womb is going to bear witness on the day of judgment. He was one of the people that cut off those ties of kinship. So yes, that hadith is authentic, marfu' from two imams. Imam al-Albani rahimahullah and Imam Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i. So, mashallah, that gives you a lot of certainty that the hadith is sahih, inshallah. No?
Sheikh al-Albani, he said sahih al-isnad and sahih marfu'an. So two.
Yeah.
Oh, Houston, we have a problem.
No, we do have a problem. You guys want to hang around for this one? It might get really ugly right now. Some aspects of this deen we have to do. We don't like to do them, but people are stupid. People spread lies, and then we have to. So yes, Houston, we have a problem. Allahumma musta'an, Allahumma musta'an. Oh boy. What do the comments look like right now before we get started on this?
Talking about, someone said Hamza can you have, but there's a whole load of questions.
We'll get back to the question. Let's deal with this first, because there are going to be a lot more questions after this. All right, let's just start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So today, when I was enjoying, finishing the khutbah, going home and eating Jamaican beef patties for the first time in 6 months, I get a message from a brother that sent me a video of a clip from our friend in Houston. And that's why we started this talk off with, I guess we're just going to call this talk, Houston, we have a problem. All right, because obviously there's something going on in the mind of certain individuals where they don't like to speak the truth. So when I watched the video, now keep in mind, I don't know the whole video of what he was talking about. He was going back and forth, I guess, with that. Who's that guy in Saudi? Asim, is his name Asim?
Awesome al-Hakim.
Yeah, he was.
White beard.
Yeah, the older guy. So he was going back and forth with him about something. The brother only sent me this one clip. It was like a minute long, where this individual was speaking about Imam al-Shawkani, rahimahullah. So the stuff that he said about Imam al-Shawkani was just pure batil and pure lies.
Who is Imam Shawkani? So people can know.
Imam al-Shawkani is in Yemen. He's the Imam, like he's a muhaddith, he's a faqih, asuli. I mean, he's everything. Imam al-Shawkani was about, say about 100, more than a little over 150 years ago. So he's, he wasn't that long ago. He came after Amir al-Sanani. So, and mashallah, he was from the scholars of the Zaydiyah. And then he had reached the level of ijtihad amongst the Zaydiyah. So once you reach that level of ijtihad, then they allow you to go out and just study and read whatever you want, because they say, well, khalas, you've reached the level of ijtihad. We brainwashed you to a point that you're not going to want anything else anyways. But Imam al-Shawkani was different. So he started reading Sahih Bukhari. I'm pretty sure that he memorized Bukhari. Started reading Fath al-Bari, books of Shaykh al-Islam. And just next thing you know, he's got all these problems with the Shia. All of this is detailed, and this is why I brought this book for this specific instance, just to show you that Imam Shawkani, rahimahullah, he detailed all the problems that he faced. And this book is called Adab al-Talib. I don't know, can they see that? Look up at the screen.
Yeah, they can see it.
All right, because you can see, I can't see, all I see is just a lens. So this book is called Adab al-Talib, which actually he wrote this for seeking knowledge about, these are the manners of a student of knowledge. But if you go through the whole beginning of the book, he's not talking about that. He's talking about all of his experiences in Sana'a, because he was a judge. He's a judge in Sana'a. And, and even till this day, because you had like levels of society in Yemen, in the north of Yemen. You had the Sada, which are the what? I'm testing you on your Yemen knowledge, Mr. You're about to go to Yemen and you don't even know your own people, huh? The Sada is what? The Sayyids, these are the people from Ahl al-Bayt. These are like the Sharafuddin, the Shamis, Al-Mutawakkil, Al-Kipsi, certain families, right? These are the families. And amongst those families that married into these families is what? Al-Houthi. Yes, this is where you get the Houthi from. A Houthi is a family. All right, so they married into the Shamis and they married into the Kipsis. And then they, became, I guess, Ahl al-Bayt. Houthi is actually from a village. It's called Houthi, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from Yemen. So anyways, these are the highest strata of society. Underneath them is the what? Al-Qudha. So the judges. Because the judges, you got to understand that Yemen, for over 1,000 years, was ruled by what?
Tribes.
No, tribes never ruled Yemen. They ruled, like, they had a say-so in a lot of the politics and everything, but the actual ruling I'm talking about was ruled by the imams from these people, from the Sada, from the Ahl al-Bayt. That's why the Mutawakkil family is probably one of the Mutawakkils and the Kipsis are the most prominent. I mean, all of these families, they all have like high status in society. But al-Mutawakkil, that's why you see like the later imams of Yemen, they used to say al-Mutawakkil Yahya ibn Fulan, al-Mutawakkil, and they used to put that title with their name. So obviously if you see a person, he's Fulan ibn Fulan al-Mutawakkil, then now you know who you're dealing with, right? So they're the ones that controlled Yemen for over 1,000 years, right? So that's the history. That's clear, right? Even during the time of the Ottomans, the Imams still controlled Yemen. Like the Ottomans, they did not have a strong hold in Yemen. Like they did not control all of the north. Because you got to keep in mind too, that Imam Shawkani, where is he from? Is he from the north or the south? No, Shawkani he's from north of Sana'a. No, he's from he's from Sana'a. He's the north, Sanani. Go to the south, man. He's to knock you over the head with this book, akhi. I don't no. Like Imam Zabidi, he's from Tihama, which is like that's the west coast of Yemen, but south. I mean, from the past, I don't know where Al-Mu'allimi was from. But no, I mean, Amir al-Sanani was from Sana'a, Imam Shawkani, so all of them were from the north of Yemen, right? So the north of Yemen, you had certain little areas where like the Ottomans had control, like in Ib, and like in little small patches of Ib, they might have had a military base here, a military base there, and that's why even till today, if you go to Ib, you can see like dudes with like green eyes and blue eyes, and he'll tell you like my great grandfather was Turkish. But that's it. That was like the extent of like the Ottoman presence in Yemen. That was only in like little small pockets. It wasn't like the Ottomans controlled Yemen. And then after World War II, the north of Yemen was what? Who controlled after? Because obviously World War I. Then after that, after the Ottomans fell, then who took control of Yemen? The Imams, khalas, they became independent. Like the Imams took full control over everything. So that those little areas that the Ottomans did control, the Imams took control over those areas. Khalas, it was over. And at this time, like the south of Yemen and the north of Yemen, they're like two separate entities. You understand? So it wasn't until the time of Ali Abdul Saleh where the north of Yemen and the south of Yemen, it all came under what? Like one rule, one control, where one government controlled the whole of Yemen. All the way up until Ali Abdul Saleh. Ali Abdul Saleh, what year did he become president?
94?
94.
70 something.
78. Yeah. July 18th, 1978. Come on, man. This is your girl, oh my God. So let's get to what's going on and why am I introducing all this Yemeni history. So for the people that can read Arabic, you definitely need to read this book. You definitely need to read this book. And one of the earlier books, which is the book I'm reading, as you can see, I'm almost finished with it now. It's a huge book, right? Which is a Darari, which is by Imam Shawkani, which is his book in fiqh, which is very, very important because the issue that he was dealing with was an issue of fiqh, right? That he was going back and forth with Mr. Asim. I don't know why he brought up Shawkani. So this is the issue. Our friend in Houston, I'm going to try to be as nice as I can. I don't think it's going to last too long, but, I'll try because we got kids here, I'm going to try to be nice. But our friend in Houston, this Majusi guy, he decides that he wants to say that Imam Shawkani, he gave a fatwa based on marriage because you heard it. What did he say?
Quote unquote, he's influenced by the West.
He was influenced by the West. Influenced by the West. Now, I don't know what crack that they're putting in the water in Houston or crystal meth or whatever they're putting in the water in Houston, but you have to be on some serious stuff to make a statement like that. Okay, for one, has the West ever had a foothold in the north of Yemen? No. Where did they have a foothold?
In the Middle East.
No, but in the south of Yemen, in Aden. The British in the I got the dates written down here, so I don't have to sit back and do this all from memory. But in 1839, the British came in and they took over the port of Aden. Took over the port of Aden in 1839. When did Imam Shawkani die? So that means all this time, there's no Western influence. And this is only the port of Aden that they went and they took control of the port of Aden in 1839. And then they made like Aden as a colony, as a British colony in 1937. Up until the Adenese, they kicked the British out. This was in 1963. Then after that, then who came in and took control of Aden? The communists. The communists came in and they took control over Aden, and they caused so many atrocities in Yemen until eventually, all the way up until when Ali Abdullah Saleh became president, then they had the thawra between the north and the south, the revolution between the north and the south, and then eventually the north took control and then made it all one country, which is what they call the Wahda, all right, which is the independence or the unity of the country. Okay, Tayyib. So the British took control of the port of Aden in 1839. When did Imam Shawkani die? 1834. So he died 5 years before the British ever even came into Yemen. And they came in through the south, only the port of Aden, which means that they had no influence in the north of Yemen, ever. There was no British presence in the north of Yemen. So here we got Becky Khomeini, right? You know, yippity yapping his mouth and lying because he's a Dajjal. You know, I'm still keeping this nice, don't worry. And, you know, he's a Dajjal from the Dajjajila, and he wants to lie and sit here and say that Imam Shawkani gave a fatwa because he was influenced by who? By the West, with no Western influence whatsoever. The only presence in the north of Yemen in the time of Imam Shawkani was who? What was the only outside influence in Yemen? The Ottomans, the Uthmaniyun, that's it. The Ottomans, which are the Turks, specifically from Turkey. They are the only people that had any control of anything in the north of Yemen. So where was the Western influence? And on top of that, I lived in, all my family, my kids, everybody was born in Yemen. And I was in Yemen from 2000 all the way to 2000 to the end of 2000, to the end of 2015, right? Now, here's my son. Did you ever see McDonald's in Yemen? Did you ever see Burger King? Did you ever see Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kremes? Did you ever see any Western influence the whole time that you grew up in Yemen? No, because Ali Abdullah Saleh would not allow it in Yemen. He wanted all the money, like they controlled all the businesses. They didn't want the West to come in and control anything. And even later on, before that, during that revolution time when they were having in 2011, they nationalized the oil companies in Hadramaut, and they took it from the Canadians and they said, no, that's it. Because it used to be Canadians used to run the oil company and the gas company, I think it was actually, and Hadramaut, and they nationalized that and took that from them. But in the north, we're talking about in Sana'a, they would not allow any Western influence. So you didn't see, when you went down and you saw all the shops, they were all just like shawarma, mandi, kebsa, you know, like not kebsa, because they didn't call it, and that's a Saudi thing, they call it kebsa. But you see like, you know, the mandi, the mabghut, and all these types of shops, these restaurants, and shawarma, and you know, that's it. That's what you saw. You didn't see McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and, you know, where the Western influence is. So this Adab goes up and says that Imam Shawkani now, he gave his fatwa. Now, based on Western influence. So we asked this Dajjal, where was the Western influence? Wallahi, hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqeen. Wallahi, and I challenge Becky Khomeini, this Majusi. I challenge him. Read any of these books by Shawkani. Read Nail al-Awtar. I mean, because I guarantee you that he has not read one book by Imam Shawkani to comment and to say the types of things that he's saying. Where an imam, a person of ilm, a person of knowledge, a person of deen, to accuse him of being influenced by the West at a time when this was not even in the conversation is complete batil. Complete batil. You know, so I mean, hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqeen, ya Becky Khomeini. If you're truly, if you're really truthful about what you say, give your evidence of everything that you say. Show us the Western influence. And you know what? He didn't say that, oh, I saw the Western influence based on what? Based on the writings of Shawkani. He said based on what? Based on the wording of the fatwa that he read as a translation in English. This is the type of stuff that we're dealing with. Yeah, Harvard should be sad. This is what you're producing. This is the best of what you produce. I mean, I know that you guys want to, you know, start a war with Islam, but this is what you produce. Wallahi, my children can refute this guy. Wallahi, I don't even know why I'm sitting up here doing this. My children could have gotten up here and done this the same as I'm doing it. And all of this is just basic information. I think anybody can get this information. Anybody knows this. And everybody knows the Imams. The Imams started in the 800s. We're dealing with the Miladi. I'm using the Christian calendar. Why? Because I know Becky Khomeini, he doesn't know the Islamic calendar. So he's not going to understand these Islamic dates. So I'm going to keep everything easy for the Majusi. because I don't know Persian, I don't know the Persian calendar. So here, so Khomeini can understand, the Imams took the control of Yemen. Now we're dealing with the Miladi calendar, right? 897. 897. So how many years ago was that?
Long time.
Right now we're in 2024. So, I mean, you can do the math, right? That's a very long time.
1400 years.
Yeah, exactly. So basically almost, the whole entire, it's a little less, I think. Yeah, it's like about 1,200 years. Yeah, it's like 200 years after the Prophet ﷺ, the Imams took control. So the first one was Al-Hadi. And if anybody knows, anybody that lived in the north of Yemen and Sada, they know that they have Masjid what? Masjid Al-Hadi with the grave. The grave is right there in the masjid. Everybody knows about this. It's just common knowledge for people that lived in Yemen. Even you know that. Yeah, you know about Al-Hadi, right? And then this continued from 897 all the way up until the 1960s, Akhi. From 897 to the 1960s, the Imams control. You saying that these Imams were working with Britain and all this? Come on, man. I'm telling you, man, I don't know what they're putting in the water in Houston, but y'all need to start filtering your water in Houston, Akhi. So it went up all the way to the later Imams, which obviously the most famous was what? Imam Yahya, who got assassinated. All right, Imam Yahya got assassinated, and when? This is no, that's Yahya. That's Ahmed ibn Yahya. So Mutawakkil Yahya he got assassinated in 1948, and we used to live in the place that he got assassinated in, because the taxi drivers. Let me tell you this: the taxi drivers in Yemen know more about the history of these countries than Becky Khomeini with his Harvard degree, and he doesn't even know the most basic information. I'm telling you, Harvard, you need to stop. You gotta improve, man. Seriously, man. SubhanAllah, you're doing a bad job. You're pushing out these enemies of Islam. They can't even add 1 + 1 is 2, Akhi. So, where did we used to live? Well, you were babies. You don't even remember this, but we used to live in a place called Al-Hijaz. And Al-Hijaz is outside of Sana'a. It's on the outskirts of Sana'a. So if you go and you look up the biography of Imam Yahya, you'll find out that he was going on an excursion to the outskirts of Sana'a, and they were out in these fields, because back in those days they used to all be fields. So it was all green, because obviously most of Yemen is farmers in the north, right? So they took him out there and they shot his car up and killed him in Hijaz. So now remember, where did I get this information from? Did I get this information from Wikipedia? No, I got this information from a taxi driver in Yemen, because one time a taxi driver was taking me home, and I told him I live in Hijaz. He's like, whoa. And we get to Hijaz, and when we pulled into where we were going, he said, you know this place? I said, yeah, I live here. I was like, of course I know it. No, he said, you know what it used to be? And I said, no. He said, this is the place where they killed Imam Yahya. So next to that, they put the military base, which is Ma'askar al-Sawad. So you can check this all on Google Maps, right? Ma'askar al-Sawad was the one that, if you remember me telling you the story about one time when they bombed the military base and the stuff was exploding and it was flying past our house, it was that military base. It was a Ma'askar al-Sawad. So Hijaz is close to the area where Ali Abdullah Saleh is from. He's from Sanhan. All of this is basic knowledge. I just lived in Yemen. So you're telling me Becky Khomeini with all these degrees in philosophy, master's degree, can't do basic research before he opens his mouth and talks? So either one, there's one of two things, all right, that we're going to deal with. Number one, he's either very, 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 very careless in his information, and he's not concerned about getting the correct information. He just wants to talk and voice his opinion about everything. Well, we don't care about your opinion. We care about factual information. We care about research that you've done. You go back and you look at the situation and you research it and you come with facts. I don't care about your opinion, especially when we're dealing with people's lives and what you think about the person. That's number one. Either one, he's just careless, which is still bad, which means that the people should not be taking knowledge from a person who's careless about the knowledge that he's giving you. Or number two, he's doing this on purpose, that he's lying on purpose to cause problems and to make the people dislike these imams. Well, what does he want the people to like? You want us to like what? You want us to leave the imams of Ahl Sunnah like Imam Shawkani in Yemen, Al-Mu'allami, Sanani, and what you want is to start taking knowledge from your Khomeini people in Iran? Yeah, akhi, we ain't got no time for that. Got no time for that. Keep your majusi stuff to yourself, akhi. And then the thing about it was okay, let's say, for example, let's say that Imam Shawkani made a mistake. Just for example, he's human, right? But did Imam Shawkani get everything right? No, of course not. He's not ma'asum. Nobody's ma'asum except for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because of revelation, Allah protected, make sure like he's no mistakes. But we're all of us after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what? We make mistakes. Khalas. So let's say that Imam Shawkani made a mistake. Does it have to be Western influence? Which is complete batil because there was no Western influence in that area in Yemen ever. Even till now, akhi, we're in 2024. Go show me the Western influence in Sana'a right now. Show it to me. Doesn't exist. It never existed. The whole time that I was in Yemen for 15 years, no Western influence. And the war, of course, khalas. That really shut it off, right? So that's one. If he made a mistake, it can't be Western influence. Why don't you say that it was his influence of growing amongst the Shia? Why didn't he make a mistake because that was his original madhab? Why couldn't it be that? Why couldn't the mistake be some other influence that's more ma'qul? It's something that actually agrees with the waqi', with the actual current, with the events of that day. Why do you have to go so far to start making stuff up about history that didn't even exist? Becky Khomeini, shame on you. Shame on you. Well, like, man, seriously, man, and mashallah, we got a lot of good brothers in Houston. Man, that's a shame for Houston that just somebody like lives like that and goes and gets this internet connection and starts spreading these lies, pure lies. And this is not the first time. How many times does it be caught up in lies and caught up in lies and caught up in lies? But yet these people still want to follow him. They will still want to follow him. They still want to listen to me. Akhi, what are you trying to listen to? You know this guy's a liar. You know that. Look at all the stuff, Akhi. Can't even do basic research, Akhi. I'm sitting here Friday, I want to sit down and enjoy my food. Nah, I got to go back and pulling this, reading this, and doing this, and opening this. It's because of this idiot. Can't even enjoy my Friday. I'm not happy now. You owe me food. He owes me lunch, Akhi. Seriously. I don't want lunch from him. He's probably going to poison it. Allah Mustaan. La barakallahu fi. La barakallahu fi. Wallahi wa amthala. Kadab, Akhi. Wallahi rajul kadab. All right, khalas. That's all I got to say about that situation, inshallah.
Questions?
Yeah, buddy.
You want oldest to newest or newest?
Whatever. Let's go with the newest.
Wait a minute. Is Mujahid on the Ilm page?
Which Mujahid?
Our Mujahid.
What's the?
Because it says thing from this channel. It says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I didn't type that. I don't even have the password for your YouTube channel.
He might have signed in on a different phone.
So this is from downstairs. Okay, this.
I was nice to her.
Yeah. This one says, Ustad.
I handled that nice, right? Mm-hmm. Next time I do this, I need to drink double espresso.
This one says, Ustad, can you explain why do the hadith about obeying the rulers applies to elected presidents and dictators?
The Prophet ﷺ said, when ta'ammar alaykum abd. Ya akhi, it's in the hadith. Ta'ammar alaykum abd. If a slave were to take over the rulership of the country, and you're talking about a president that's from that country. So here the Prophet ﷺ said, what? And usikum bis-sam' wa ta'a when ta'ammar alaykum abd. Now again, this is talking about obedience to the rulers. This does not mean that we sit back and defend their batil. If the rulers are being oppressive, we don't defend this. But obedience to them to keep the peace in the country. We watched this, 2011. But these people, like this Harvard idiot, they didn't go through that. They was sitting in the air conditioning in his nice little home in Houston with his father that was working for Boeing at the time, supplying weapons to Israel so he could kill the Palestinians, so they could kill the Palestinians. That's his father working for those people. So who was he working for? So when they're sitting there in the air conditioner in 2011 as a little child, I don't know how old is he, like in his 30s or something? 30, whatever. Okay, so how old would he have been? Like maybe just probably in college at the time. And we're over there going through all the type of stuff that we're going through. If I told you the stories of the things that we had to go through in 2011, number one, we're in the capital city, and we didn't even have electricity basically for the whole year. There was like shootings every single day at the gas stations because the people were killing each other over who's going to get the gas. Yeah, akhi, I'm not joking. You know where my house is. You know where I live at from this masjid, right? That's how long the lines of gas were to a gas station. From here, the cars would go, I would walk because there were no buses. So just to get on a bus to get home, I would have to walk 2 miles down to the nearest street to get a bus. And I would walk those 2 miles and it's just nothing but cars lined up at a gas station. That's what we had to go through. Bullets and, shootings all the time. I came out one time, I was walking down the street trying to get the bus. The police jumped in front of me and started shooting at somebody down at the street. And I jumped behind the car. The brother I was walking with is like, what's the problem? I'm like, well, if he's shooting at somebody, somebody's shooting back. Get down. I didn't think about it like that. Just jumped out in front of us and started shooting. Like this was normal. But y'all didn't have to go through that. That was the chaos that happened because why? The people didn't want to obey these ahadith. And wallahi, after all that chaos, and then in 2000, and this continued, don't you think 2011 was the end, 2012 was the end? No, the fighting continued, and the problems continued. And then it boiled over until 2014 when the Houthis surrounded Sana'a. And guess where we were while you were sitting in your air conditioner? Yeah, Majusi. While we were there suffering, I got kids, a newborn baby in the hospital, and the Houthis are sitting over there taking over Sana'a. Fighting against the military to get in the Sana'a. This was the result of these people going and making that type of khuruj. And then when the Houthis took over, what did the people say? The people that were going out and protesting, they said, oh, we just want Ali Abdullah Saleh back. We just want Ali. Just let us go. Akhi, that day is over. That ship is past. You chose and you made that decision. Now you made your bed, now you lie in it. Look at Syria. Syria will never be the same again. Never be the same. Every single, because of this revolution. We're not saying that, okay, look at the president. Is he an oppressor? Yes. But use hikmah, ya ikhwan. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go and start a revolution that's going to cause the deaths of how many thousands of people? Who's responsible for that? Who's going to take responsibility? You think the leaders of that revolution are taking responsibility? While the people were getting killed in Yemen, Tawakkul Qarman was up in the White House hugging Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, akhi. One of the biggest enemies of Islam. And here she is, munafiqah, going up and hugging Hillary Clinton while the people were getting killed in Yemen. And we had to sit there and go through that every day. We had to sit there in the war with the bombings and the bombings and the bombings and the bombings. What did you have to go through in your air conditioner, ya akhi? And you're sitting up in Harvard, oh, it's so hard. We have to eat ramen noodles in the microwave every day. Man, shut up. But see, that's what I'm saying. These types of people, they call to that chaos, but they will never ever live in it. They'll never live in it, but they'll call the people to do it. They'll call the people like, oh, go rebel in a Muslim country. See what that gets you. Has it ever, has the Muslim world ever benefited from any type of rebellion?
No, just made things worse.
Oh,
things worse.
Yes. But people know that who lived there and watched it. But these people sitting over here in their air conditioning, where they're, watching TV and thinking everything's like, come on, akhi, this ain't television. These are people's lives. So, it doesn't matter. Ali Abdullah Saleh, we had no problems in Ali. Wallahi, ya akhi, in the last couple of years that Ali Abdullah Saleh was the president, nobody was allowed to carry a gun in Sana'a unless he had a military card. And no Houthis were allowed in Sana'a. Who opened up the doors and brought the Houthis into Sana'a? Tawakkul Qarman and all those people, because they needed to bolster the revolution. They wanted to get the protesters, so they opened the doors and brought the Houthis in to their so-called revolution. And then when their revolution was finished, the Ikhwanis, they shut the Houthis out. They said, we're not giving y'all nothing, get away. So the Houthis like, you're not giving us nothing. Now look at the result. So the Houthis come into Sana'a in 2014. Where are all those leaders of the Ikhwan? Where did they go? Where do you think they went? Boy, they fled like Carl Lewis in the track meet, akhi. You guys are too young for Carl Lewis. What's the new guy? Usain Bolt or whatever. Usain Bolt. So they fled like Usain Bolt, akhi. World record, getting in their cars and running out and leaving it. And then the Houthis went up and they went in all of their villas. And they took videos. I remember this is late 2014, 2015. They were taking videos, jumping on their beds in their villas. Like, this is Ali Muhsin's bed. They're jumping on their beds and destroying their homes. Because they all fled the country and left the people to what? You did this revolution. Ali Muhsin turned against Ali Abdullah Saleh. Ali Abdullah Saleh trusted Ali Muhsin. And then you see the khiyana. And then he turned against him and he wanted to do the coup. Look at the result of Yemen now. Look at it. But that's what these people call to. But they'll never go there and suffer with the people. They'll never have to go through. They'll never sit back and go through what we had to go through. And I know you could tell some stories of what your family's going through right now. Which is way, way worse. Way, way worse. So I mean, but everybody likes to talk about that stuff from comfort. Yaqi, there's nothing glorifying about war. And there's nothing glorifying about Muslims losing their lives. Because you idiots want to start a revolution because you want the power. And then what happens when they come to power? When they get the government out and then they come to power, what have we read through history? They end up becoming more oppressive than the person that they got out.
Yeah, like what happened in Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
We thought, when that stuff happened in Egypt, we were like, there's no way somebody will come that will be worse than Hosni Mubarak.
Well, sabahu khair. And that's the reality of the situation. But that's the whole history.
Yeah.
The whole history. Every time that they try to get out a ruler and do this rebellion stuff, it's like a punishment from Allah. You're gonna get worse because the thing about it is that ruler, the new ruler, he knows everybody. He knows the heads of all the people that were protesting. Now he wants to keep his power. What do you think he's gonna start doing? Yeah, he's gonna tasfiyah. I think he's gonna do straight up tasfiyah, assassination. And that's what happened in Yemen. Well, in Yemen, I think people were getting rolled up on and motorbikes and shot up all over the place. Generals in the army were just getting shot all over the place and killed in the streets of Sana'a, in the streets of Taz. But this is what the people, they don't care about this. All they want is what? Let's get the revolution. Let's get these. No, man, the obedience to the ruler is not that you sit here and okay, we go along with, if there's munkar, there's munkar. That doesn't mean that we accept it. But that means that we're trying to keep the peace in the country. So we stay obedient to the Muslim rulers. All right. As far as these kuffar, they have no walaya over us anyways.
I think that would be a good time to mention the ayah in Surah Al-An'am.
Go ahead, you mention it. You keep telling me to mention it.
No, because you have more fiqh.
Well, I'm saying it's on your head. Go.
Allah said in Surah Al-An'am, وَكَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضًا مِمَّا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. And وَجَاءَ فِي الْأَثَرِ كَمَا تَكُونُونَ يُوَلَّى عَلَيْكُمْ. The state of the people, if you're an oppressive, Allah will bring an oppressive ruler upon you.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Allah said, كَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضًا بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ.
I mean, but look at the person that they got out. Even in all of the fighting, all these leaders, they went to Turkey, they went to Qatar, they went to America. Ali Abdullah Saleh stayed right there. I don't care what you say about Ali Abdullah Saleh, you might, whatever gripes that you have about him, that dude was a rajul, that was a man. And you know what they found out when Ali Abdullah Saleh died? He didn't own any land in France and Britain. All the land that he owned was where? In Yemen. He didn't own anything, no bank accounts outside of Yemen, nothing. Oh, they were looking for all this money and all this wealth and trying to get the secret bank accounts and all, nothing. Everything that he owned was right there in Yemen. Where did he take a vacation? He took a vacation in different parts of Yemen. He never left Yemen. Never left Yemen. That man, regardless of whatever, Allah hasibu, and whatever dhulm or oppression he's done, and of course, I mean, this is the last days, akhi. What do you expect? You expect Abu Bakr to be leading us in 2024. When you look at the Muslims acting the way that they're acting, when we got this dude up in Houston wearing a little dress shirt and slacks and all this, getting up speaking about Imam Shokani, and what does he want? He wants Abu Bakr now to be a ruler over us. Yeah, he start acting like Abu Bakr first. Start following the Sunnah first. Start learning your deen first. Wallahi, the most basic knowledge of the deen, most Muslims don't even know, but yet you want what? You want you want from a Sahaba to rule over you. You expect something different. Yeah, we oppress ourselves night and day with the sins and with the ma'asi and everything that we fall into all the time. And what are we going to do? We keep disobeying Allah, so Allah puts an oppressor over us. It's a punishment. Deal with the punishment, akhi. You don't deal with the punishment through more disobedience. You deal with the punishment through what? You go back to the obedience of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises the bala from you, raises the tribulation. But how do you expect now that you're going to raise this tribulation by doing what? By disobeying Allah further? Ya akhi, this is insanity.
This question says, Ustad, did Imam Shawkani have any issues or mistakes in Aqidah or Manhaj?
Yeah, he did. Of course he did. He grew up in a time of like where the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wasn't even in Yemen at the time. So I mean, yeah, he made mistakes, but alhamdulillah, he was a person who was always out searching for the truth. And he fell into whatever he fell into, just like Imam Nawawi, just like Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar. They fell into these mistakes, but they were people of truth. You know, so we try to like give them the husnul dhan because they're imams. Where would we be like right now today without their books? Could you imagine that? If we took those three imams out, just them. I mean, we could add Ibn Hazm to the mix too. Because Ibn Hazm had way more mistakes than Aqidah. You know, but like throw these four into the mix, right? Take their books out. What would the Islamic library look like? It would be much, much smaller. And a lot of the books that are like have major, like Fath al-Bari, you cannot replace that. The Sharh of the Majmu', the Muhaddab, you can't. By Imam Nawawi, you can't replace that. You know, and the books by Shawkani, like Nail al-Awtar, Darari, and these types of books, Sayl al-Jarrar, you can't. You know, these are Irshad al-Fuhul and Usul al-Fiqh by Imam Shawkani is a gem. It's a gem of a book. So, I mean, he made mistakes because that was the type of environment that he was in. He was not in an environment where the correct Aqidah was taught. So he fell into what he fell in. Well, alhamdulillah, you know, may Allah forgive him. May Allah forgive him, you know. But I mean, no doubt he was a man of the truth. And we have that husn, when I said about the husn al-dhan, that if he had come across the correct understanding, that he would have accepted it, and Allah knows best. And only Allah knows that, but I mean, we have that husn al-dhan with him.
This question says, Ustad, a brother is asking for advice about dealing with watching haram videos and images, and how to quit these evil things.
And we get this question like every other day, akhi. No, I mean, it's the same advice that I gave you last time, akhi. Stop being alone. You being alone is what, because it's, all right, it's one thing to tell a person, hey, you know, Allah is always watching you. You always have to keep that in your mind. But if you don't have that type of knowledge where you're truly understanding the Quran, you're not going to keep that in your mind when you're doing these types of acts. Stop being alone. Stop sleeping, stop sitting alone. Like try to, be around the Muslims, be around people, and just do whatever you can do to not be alone. Because it's when you're alone, that's when you're doing that type of stuff.
This question says, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I've heard that it isn't allowed to be seen around people that openly sin. If someone has a non-Muslim aunt that wants to take them to a restaurant, would it be allowed to go? It would be for special occasion and no free mixing.
How's it going? Not going to be any free mixing in America or in the West. Maybe it's in a Muslim country or no, because it says non-Muslim, right? It's not about, I mean, if you're giving dawah to your family, that's what the purpose is for, to sit down and to maintain the ties of kinship and to give dawah to that person. That's not an issue. The issue, yeah, of course, about like where you go and eat. Try to avoid the places that serve alcohol and make that as dawah. When you choose the place to go eat, choose a Muslim restaurant. Choose a Muslim restaurant. Tell your aunt, like, hey, let's go eat over here. They got like this halal pizza. Go there, And, Cam's Pizza, there you go. I give a shout out to Basil's Pizza in Jacksonville, because, my brother, subhanAllah, he used to hook us up there in Jacksonville with that pizza, so. No, they used to make this, mashallah, pizza like that big.
This is just a side point. The chat, they love the new Hamza.
The Hamza 3.0.
The new Hamza.
So you're famous already.
I think one of them called him Hamza al-Quds.
Oh, so there you go, mashallah. Hamza al-Quds. We've been having Hamza wars. So then you come here with your son who's also named Hamza and then adds to the war now. Is it or what?
No, there was one, but I just lost it because
Okay, here it is. It says to me, Hamza, can you ask? It says, is it halal to watch videos of uncovered women, even in YouTube videos for information, because I thought that's not a necessity.
For information. If you need information, you listen to it. What do you got to see an uncovered woman to get information for? Can't read a book? What information is that important that you have to disobey Allah to get that information? All the information that you need is in the Quran and the Sunnah. That's what you need. You don't need to look at naked women for that, do you? I don't see any, like, whenever I read these books, I don't see any naked women. You see any? No, I mean, it's beautiful. That's full of information. That's where you get your information from. Where you getting your information from YouTube for anyways? If you're getting your information from YouTube, and that's your main source of information, there's no hope for you. There's no hope for you as a human being. Well, that's your source of information. Y'all hear that? The YouTube generation too. Yeah, if you get your, every time that my son comes up, what? You come up with something crazy, right? What's the first question that I ask you? You saw that on YouTube, didn't you? Yeah. You're like, yeah.
If there's anyone that's on crack smoke,
It's kind of funny because we're actually on YouTube right now.
this person,
Don't make it your source of information, though.
this person says, I highly, like, what is this guy saying? He said he traced his lineage and he's related to Nabi Allah Dawood.
How you gonna do that?
I don't know. Should we kick him up?
I mean, no, you don't kick them out for that. You just like you're like one of those slumlords. You just want to evict everybody. Look, the Prophet's lineage, the only thing that they got is back to what? No, but I'm saying his lineage is authentic up to who?
The Prophet Adam.
Oh man, I thought he answered. Well, I was about to be so happy for your son, but no, that's not right. Anybody? Come on, somebody answered.
The Prophet is with
It's
us.
no.
The Prophet ﷺ's lineage is ittifaq, like agreement amongst all the ulama of lineage, up until one person, and then after that, then they differ. Who is that one person? Look and see if it's in the comments.
No. This guy says, this is your Biden the Taghut.
He rules by other than what Allah said down. So he rules by what other than what Allah says down, and he's pleased with it. So yeah, no doubt. Nobody answered.
No.
Adnan.
Adnan?
That's where the lineage, that's where all the ittifaq. After Adnan up until Ibrahim, alayhi salam, there's ikhtilaf about Ibrahim to Ismail, there's no ikhtilaf. But the son of Ismail, which one was it? You read like Alfiyat al-Iraqi, he gives one narration. Ibn Jawzi, in one of his books, he gives a different narration. There's different sons of Ismail, and they have difference of opinion. So the most authentic, that I would take from is the narration from Imam al-Iraqi in his Alfiyah. He's got it's Alfiyah called Alfiyat al-Sirah. It's a poem. It's 1,000 lines of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. And he gave the whole lineage going all the way back to Adam. Now, of course, going back to Adam alayhi salam, that's going to be. But what I'm saying is, I brought this issue up about the Prophet ﷺ for what reason? That they cannot agree on the lineage of the Prophet going back to Adnan, except after Adnan, right? So how would you have your lineage going back to Dawood alayhi salam and saying that that's authentic? Nah. So like a lot of these Jews nowadays, they go around, and they say that they're the real Jews and all this stuff because, and they give you this fake made up lineage going back to Dawood alayhi salam. Nah. Their lineage goes back to Ukraine. Allahu Musta'an. We're probably gonna get blocked for that.
This person, I'm assuming he's talking about a female relative of his, either a sister or an aunt, because he doesn't specify. Every time they come over, am I obliged to give salam them? She also says, I don't even wish to see other women because of how haram and inappropriate.
Again, because I don't even understand it. Up until now, I don't understand what the question is.
I think he's saying, do I have to give salam to a mahram lady of mine if she dresses inappropriately?
I mean, if she's your family, give her advice. Sit down and advise. That's your family. Advise her, and that's the best thing to do, especially if she's close relatives. I mean, if she's a mahram. If you're a mahram, we gotta take this out because this microphone is about to die. One more question. No, leave it, because we'll just take one more question because it's 10 o'clock, man.
Okay, this is a question that will benefit a lot of Muslims who've been brainwashed by Instagram, Facebook, and everything.
And Houston.
And Houston. They said, so.
Or been drinking the water in Houston. Go ahead.
Are Houthis Muslim?
I'll ask you a question. If a person took a mushaf, now I'm gonna ask you. No, I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask the kids. If a person took a mushaf, threw it on the ground, and started stomping on it, would that take that person out of Islam?
Yeah.
You said yeah. Definitely. No doubt Hamza 3.0, right?
Yes, like definitely.
What do y'all say?
Nah, of course. Yeah.
So the Houthis do this, and they don't accept the Quran that we have because they say that this Quran is, it's been changed by the Wahhabis, and that this Quran is incomplete. And I posted the video. I posted it. And you see on my pages, I never post videos of anything, but I posted a video of this, right? Where it was three students from Damascus. They got killed by the Houthis. And one of the students, he had a mushaf in his jacket. And when he got shot and killed, when he fell like this, the jacket opened and the mushaf kind of slid up. And the Houthis went and stomped on it. They recorded it. They're the ones recording. And they did this one time. They went into a masjid in Sana'a. This was before the war started. One of them, he started stomping on the mushaf. And then all the people, they just came and just beat the mess out of this guy. They started beating him. They had to come and help him and take him out the masjid. Because the whole masjid just started beating him. But the point is they have the Eid al-Ghadir in Sa'da, where the Houthis, they go to this mountain every single year on Eid al-Ghadir, right? You ask your father about it. And they say that this mountain, I'm not joking, this is what they do. At least 16 to 20 people get killed every year because of this stupidity. They say this mountain is Muawiyah. And then they start cursing Muawiyah and they start shooting the mountain. And 16 to 20 people every year. I remember we used to be in Damaj and the Sheikh would say, 24 people got killed this year in Sa'da because of Eid al-Ghadir. Because of the bullets. What goes up must come down, right? They shoot a lot. They just da-da-da-da-da-da. Then they take a sheep and they say that the sheep is who? Who do you think? All right, so one of the wives of the Prophet, and then they slaughter the sheep. You understand? And this is a Muslim. This is the act of a Muslim. All right, and then this is just the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. They insult all the Sahaba. They insult all the Sahaba except for a few. They curse them. They don't just insult them. And they still accuse the Prophet's wife of committing zina. Yeah, that's kufr. So if you have any doubts about the Houthis, right now, after all that they've done, please, man, subhanAllah. One of the sheikhs in Yemen, Sheikh Rashad Abali'i, Allah yahfadhu, Allah yubarak fihi. So he's a sheikh, man. He's, mashallah, a very, very, very beneficial student of knowledge. He has very beneficial durus on the internet. Rashad Abali'i. So he's one of the brothers who, he was working a checkpoint doing taftish. Because the Houthis, they were trying to get down to the south and they wanted to block the Houthis out. So one day, now get this now. This is because one of the brothers, I think he saw a dream or something. I don't know the whole background story. But what happened was they had a shahina. What is that? What do you call a shahina in English? Huh? Yeah, like one of those big trucks. Yeah, the big trucks where they shipping stuff. But this truck was full of what? It's full of books. It's full of books, right? So Rashad, Allah yahfadhu, he was one of the ones at the checkpoints. The whole checkpoint was from Ahl Sunnah. So they opened up the back of the truck. They started doing, taftish, and they saw books of what? They saw, books of Ahl Sunnah. They're like, cool, no problem. Rashad said, nah, check the back. Check the back. So they moved all the books out. This takes, you could imagine how long this is going to take now. They got to go and move all these books out, and they went and they checked the back. Guess what they found in the back? All these books that come from Iran, all these Ithna Ashariya, Rafali books. And he found them. And these books were going to Sana'a to be taught in schools. So they captured them, and Rashad, they took pictures of the books and showed, like, this is what they're trying to teach the kids. It's all rough. Oh, just kufr.
They purposely put it.
Yeah, but they see how smart they are. That they loaded up the truck with books of Ahl Sunnah at the front. They hid those books in the back.
Sneak.
I want to ask you, so if when someone curses your Islam out, or Sayyidina Muhammad, what should you do?
Well, I mean, you should, first off, number one, you should never talk to that person again.
Yeah, no.
Are you talking about a person who claims to be Muslim?
No.
Or just a kafir?
Yeah. Shia, I'm like Shia or like Christian. Or like
I mean that depends on the situation.
Okay.
That's something you have to sit down with your father and go over. That's not, because like my son, I would tell him punch the dude in the mouth. But you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't give you that advice, because that's for your father to tell you that.
That's what my dog told me.
Huh?
Like in Jordan, some people will just cuss their son out.
Really? Jordan, they do that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the ability to do that, and inshallah you can escape getting in trouble, punch him in the mouth. Well, we found this out, like we found out right here. What do we find out in UFC?
He got more than just.
You know what I'm saying? We found the cure, because this guy came here cursing Islam, and we just kept telling him, the brother told him, leave and don't come back.
I told him.
But he came back, and then he came back again. And the cure for that coming back was a broken jaw. And alhamdulillah, like, it really cured that guy. Like, he came to this masjid and he got smashed, akhi. Smashed. Even till now, his jaw, because we sat here face to face with him the other day. He came back again. But he was all messed up. He was broken, akhi. Like, you saw where the brother hit him. His whole face, he got a black eye over here. He got hit. He got here, he got hit here, because he was like laying, the brother grabbed his head and just bam! Like, I mean, that punch, akhi, will live in, you remember that? When the brother just grabbed him, I ain't gonna say his name on camera, but when he hit him, the shot heard around the world, akhi, you know what I'm saying? Like, that punch was just like, the way he grabbed his head is just like his jaw, oh my God. Even the other brother that was next to him, he jumped back. Musa, because Musa didn't hit him, like, he was the one, but he jumped back. He said, so he told me, he said, why did he jump back? He said, I jumped back because his head shot back at me so fast, I was afraid that his head was gonna, because the dude's head. Yeah, boy, oh boy, that's a good cure. That's a good cure for a person that wants to talk about this deen.
I have to replay it.
Yeah, but I could never do it the way he did it, boy. And all four of us got to witness it. So that was one Jumu'ah. That was last Jumu'ah. Yeah, it was last Jumu'ah. Yeah, because he came back the other day, and Malik was here when he came back. You saw him, right? How did he look?
I saw.
Well, put it this way: if you saw the pictures, like the video camera footage of him, he looked kind of young. That brother hit him and added 20 years to his life, akhi. That dude looks like an old man now. His whole face is he got a black eye on the opposite side of the face that he got hit. This brother hit him so hard it busted the blood vessels on the other side of his face, akhi. Could you imagine that? Like knocked his soul to the other side of his body, akhi.
Just to also say the person.
If you can do that, do it.
But I know if someone curses Sayyidina Muhammad, that like, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but if he curses like Allah, that Allah can like forgive him. But if he curses Sayyidina Muhammad, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what should we do?
I mean, wait, again now, if he curses Allah.
If he curses Allah, Allah will forgive him. That what I know. Like, you can be him.
I mean, Allah will forgive anybody that makes tawbah, if they make tawbah.
If they make tawbah.
But if he dies,
I know, like,
he dies cursing Allah, no, he's gonna be very, very, whatever we can do to him in this life is nothing compared to what's gonna happen to him in the grave. Huh?
You wish hellfire on that person? Of course.
To make dua for him to go into hell.
Like after he dies.
I mean, yeah, after he dies. I mean, if he died upon that, yeah, khalas.
Also say is
Curse him. I mean, if you know that he died on that he didn't make tawbah.
the person who said, the person who got punched, he came to me one day. He told me the first time he came, he said, the Quran is from Satan. And then he started saying, like, you need the Bible, this and that. And I told him, I said, if you come back, something's gonna happen to you. And then in the khutbah, he went to the women. He wanted to go like touch one of the women, and the woman ran up. And then after the khutbah, all the people ran out, and then he just, wallahi, he got hit so hard. Wallahi, I felt the ground around me vibrate of how hard he hit. The brother who punched him, he has a massive punch. Like,
I mean, his forearms are here like this big, and I'm not exaggerating. You know that, like I mean, just his forearms like that. So like his bones will not even move. Like his hand, his arm, like, and his fists are like, I ain't no joke, akhi. You get hit with that, man. His fist will just like destructure your whole face, man.
What happened to that guy that like punched him?
No, he came. He went to the hospital. He got his jaw broken.
But like,
And he went to the hospital, got out the hospital, and came back here 2 days later. Oh, you talking about like criminal wise?
No, he's talking about the guy that hit him.
Oh no. This was happening in the projects. I don't know, the police. I don't even think. No, nothing happened. The family came and apologized.
the police was like, we're not.
The family actually came and apologized. The family actually came to the masjid and said, "We're sorry." The family apologized, but he came back the other day, boy. That was, alhamdulillah, man. Nothing happened to her. You were watching, huh? Me and Abdul Malik, because he came back and then he went over there, that fence where he jumped over to go, where he jumped over to go back into the projects over there. He was over there behind Abdul Malik's daughter's car. So me and Abdul Malik both went out there with I had the machete like that big, and Abdul Malik I think had about the same thing. And we both carried it like that. And we're just like, you don't act stupid today. Please don't act stupid today, because this is not good. Because I told him, I said, look, we're not doing this no more. We're taking his ankles out. Next time we're just taking his ankles, I'm just slice his ankles up. You ain't walking back to this masjid ever again. I'm not going to kill him. It's not permissible. I don't want to kill nobody. But we're going to cut your ankles up. That's it. You're going to have a whole bunch of people with cut up ankles walking around Fresno. Broken jaws and cut ankles.
also,
but alhamdulillah, like when we went over there, we confronted them because it's like nothing. Right, it was right after Fajr. We didn't even take the class. Like we went over there, confronted him over there, and told him, leave, get out of here. And he left, and we watched, and we made sure that we walked all the way. He's just messed up. He couldn't even walk straight. His jaw's all messed up. And then there was another person sleeping over here. So then we was like, well, since we're already out here, let's go confront this person. But it turned out it was just a woman. We couldn't tell because she was all covered up. She came out and said, what? I was like, oh, it's just a woman. Let's go. Then we came back in and took the class for Fajr. Sit here and study Bukhari after all that.
Just to end it. Also, in a Muslim country, I'm saying if there's a Muslim ruler, someone who goes around and insulting Islam, trying to, quote unquote, saying rumors about Islam, according to Surah Al-Ma'idah, the Muslim ruler, like Allah said in the Quran in Surah Al-Ma'idah, إِنَّمَا جَزَاءُ الَّذِينَ يُحَارِبُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم. So according to that verse, the Muslim ruler is supposed to either kill him, crucify him, cut off one of his arms and one of his legs from opposite sides, ينفوا من الأرض. That means like take him out of the land. Correct.
Yeah, kick them out.
Yeah.
But that depends on the level of fasad, because he's talking about the people also that are cutting off the turuq. You know, you get the bandits that cut off the pathways, and if the ruler captures them, yeah, you cut off, you know.
What if he did like Bashar al-Assad in Syria? What should we do to him?
See, the whole thing about like, okay, you know, like the Prophet ﷺ said about the, you know, إِلَّا أَن تَرَى كُفْرًا بَوَاحًا عِنْدَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ سُلْطَانٌ or burhan, sorry. You know, for the Muslim, like, you know, the ruler, it is permissible to make khuruj, to go against, is a person that you have what? Kufran, what? Bawah. And what does that mean?
Very, very
Like
clear.
scene right there.
Yeah, it says no ikhtilaf fihi.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, you know, we're not talking about that he comes with something that's kufr, but, you know, he has a ta'wil or there's some type of ikhtilaf. You know what I'm saying? There can't be no ikhtilaf. It has to be, all right, he accuses one of the, you know, the wife's prophet, the prophet's wife of committing fornication after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has freed her from this. That's kufr what? But why? There's no ikhtilaf about it. You're not going to read in any of the books where they say, oh no, he's only a kafir if. So now, let's say that he came with, like, for example, like, I mean, in Bashar al-Assad, he's got his list of things, all right? So now, what do? You make khuruj against him. Tayyib. Under one condition. Who's going to protect the people from him? Good question, right? When he is in his military, you make the khuruj and they start killing people, who's going to protect those people? That's your responsibility because you're making the khuruj. You have to protect the people. So if you can make the khuruj on the person who comes with clear-cut kufr and get him out of power while protecting the lives of people so all these innocent people aren't getting killed, then it becomes permissible. And I remember when the Iraqis, it was in the Majmu' al-Fatawa of Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah. So I was sitting down reading it one time, and I remember the Iraqis, they went to Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, and they asked him about this, because Sheikh bin Baz, he was notorious for what? Yeah, he made takfir of Saddam, because Saddam, he kafar bil-ba'th. He said that there's no la ba'th ba'd al-maut, that there's no resurrection after death. When we die, we die. That's it. This is what Saddam said. So when this reached Sheikh bin Baz made takfir of him, right? And rightfully so. So the people from Iraq, they come to Sheikh bin Baz, you know, they go, they make Hajj or Umrah or whatever, and they visit Sheikh bin Baz, even though he's in Riyadh at the time, right? So, but they visit him and they say, what do we do? Can we make khuruj against him? He said, yes, under these conditions. And what were those conditions? Yeah, what I meant, that you make sure that there's not going to be senseless killing. Can you promise that you can go and get Saddam out of power without his military going around and killing a whole bunch of people? And they're like, no. Then he said, that's not permissible. And guess what they didn't do? They didn't make khuruj against Saddam, because guess what would have happened? Yeah, he would have slaughtered people. We know that. And we know that. And then you look at the issue of like Saddam, in the time of Saddam, honestly, okay, I hate Saddam. But would I rather have Saddam in power than what's in power in Iraq right now? Yes. And most people, even Iraqis, a lot of Iraqis agree. Because Saddam controlled that country. He didn't let the Shia have any power. And now look at this. Now look at the craziness going on in the country. You know, they were like top level in education back in those days. Like, you know, the Iraqis, when they came from like engineering, mathematics, and all those major sciences back in the 80s and the 90s, they were the top-notch people. They were going around the Arab world getting the highest salaries in the schools, like in Saudi, even in Yemen. The Iraqi teachers back in the days used to make some of the highest salaries for teaching mathematics, because they were known for being like super educated. You think that exists today? No, of course not. Now most of the Iraqis, they're like in Yemen, now they're barbers. They're not, you know, they're known for like, I mean, what? Like they were known for education, known for. But look at how. So when you look at that type of situation, you can't protect the people. You have to be patient. You have to be patient, because like the same thing with Bashar al-Assad. Look what happened. Look at all the killing that happened in Syria. Where's Bashar al-Assad now? He's still there. All those people are dead. All those people are dead now.
All of them, they got out.
Or the people had to leave their homes, leave their.
Many in Europe.
you know how like amazing Syria used to be before that revolution?
I've been there.
Beautiful country, food was super cheap, like the life there was like so okay. You have to deal with this. Sometimes you have to be patient. You can't change that situation. Now poverty. Now most of the people, they can't even go back to their own country. Their own country. In Syria, in Sham. And what? The Prophet ﷺ, he made dua for 2 countries. What were those 2 countries?
Yemen and Sham.
Yeah, he said, Allahumma barik lana fi Shamina wa fi Yemenina. And he said it again, and they said, wa fi Najdina, and he said, Allahumma barik lana fi Shamina wa fi Yemenina. So Allah, and the Prophet ﷺ, he made dua that Allah put barakah in these lands. And you see that barakah, I haven't been to Syria, but I know a lot of Syrians in Yemen because they had to leave the country and they came to Yemen, then they ended up having to leave Yemen because of the war in Yemen. And just the stuff that I heard is like, I wanted to go, but it's too late, right? But you can see the barakah in Yemen. You can see, like, subhanAllah, you go out to the village in Damaj. In Damaj, it used to be like, you go out to the Hadaba, right? It's just all desert. But then you go in and it's just like all grapes and corn and wheat and sha'ir and, it's just all green. And it's subhanAllah, the grapes, wallahi, never had anything like this in my life. Even the bananas that I used to get from Tihama, the tomatoes and everything. Back when I first got to Yemen, you could take a tomato and eat it. Just eat it like an apple. It's just delicious, akhi. Allah put barakah in those, but that barakah, it stays when the people stay with what? With Islam, with obedience to Allah. When the people start acting crazy, then that barakah. So now look at Syria. They used to say, the Syrians used to tell me, they used to buy like a truckload of tomatoes for like barely nothing. And they used to make I think they used to can it up, or, they used to do something where they have like the sauce for like the whole entire year.
We were there like in 2003. I went there looking for a wife. Me and my brother and like 3 or 4 friends. And wallah, we had a whole table in front of us, like one of the biggest restaurants in Syria. It was like $20.
$20. Subhanallah.
For all of us. But $20, I mean, was really dirt cheap,
Yeah.
Like compared to Jordan or to here,
Oh, Jordan's expensive, man.
It's more expensive than here.
Yeah, Jordan, because when I was living in Saudi, a lot of the Jordanians, they come to, not Jordanian, but they used to come to Saudi to work.
Yeah.
They used to always complain about that, like just the life is there, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So this,
Go ahead.
this
You got a question? Or?
Oh yeah. So basically now, if you caught like a traitor, like he was like a leader, or he was like a country, and you caught him like he was like a traitor, and you want like over his army, what should you do to him? I don't like that. Like if you caught like a traitor, and you should like.
That's up to the person in authority.
You should like kill him. Man.
I mean, that's up to the person. That's up to the person in authority.
What you ask the sheikh about what you were asking me? Tomorrow's his birthday, or
He's asking me all these Call of Duty questions.
Exactly. And he wants to go out, sheikh, and he wants to go out with friends that the kid has only been here for 9 months, and now he has some non-Muslim friends, and he wants to go out with them on his birthday.
I mean,
Ask the sheikh about that.
after you sat here through all this conversation, you know what I'm going to say. And you've been to my khutbahs before. Were you here today? And what was I saying today?
Saying you like, don't go.
No, but what I'm saying is like, here you are, you spend more time with what? Listening to the music of the kuffar, watching the movies of the kuffar, dressing like the kuffar, right? So it's like, when do you ever spend time as a Muslim? When do you ever spend time in obedience to Allah?
I have a lot of friends. It's like this is my first time that I want to go out with them because they want to go out because it's my birthday.
I mean, if you could ask me this question, I'm going to disappoint you. But the ultimate thing, it goes back to that man right
Exactly
there.
what I answered him, sheikh. I told him, you know what? That's what the sheikh said today in the khutbah. And we were just coming over here in the car. I told him, you can't be listening to music, so you think you can have an unbeliever friend? You can't have that.
And I'm a
I mean, this was the reason why I said that in the khutbah. It was a statement from a kid in Saturday. Not a kid, he was like 18, 19 years old. But he's like, I love Tupac. This is what he kept saying. Right? He kept telling me, I love Tupac, Saturday kid, right? So I said, oh, Tayyib, you love Tupac? He said, yeah. I said, Allahumma ib'athak ma'a Tupac. Allah yib'athak ma'a Tupac. And I told him this, right? What do you think happened to his face? Oh, it's لا 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 أنا ما أحبه هكذا يا أستاذ لا لا ليش هذا تدعو علي هكذا يا أستاذ لا ما أحبه هكذا لا نعم يا أخي أنت تقول أنت تحبه وأنا رجل مع من يحب يوم القيامة خلاص أنا أقول لك الله يجعلك مع من تحب. So the point is that if you're like, this is my rule in life. If I don't want to be with you on the day of judgment based on how you are in the dunya, I don't want to be with you in the dunya. Khalas. If I'm not going to be pleased standing, like if we had to all be resurrected and brought together as people on the same ideology, same belief, if I'm not willing to do that on the day of judgment with this person, I'm not going to be with this. Because if you're with them in the dunya, that's where you're going to be with them in the akhirah. That's it.
So the Shias say like.
We're going from birthdays to Shia to Bashar Asad.
I wanted to add.
Go ahead. This is your last question, Hamza 3.0.
So the Shias say Ya Hussein and Ya Ali, and like if someone Sunni said Ya Hussein and Ya Ali, he didn't mean like to obey.
Well, what is he?
Ali.
That's
Shia.
No.
Is that haram?
Well, we don't do the sukhriya. We just tell the people that's shirk aslan. Because that's istighatha, So they're calling on them and they're dead. It's not permissible. You want to call on somebody, who you call on?
Someone alive.
No, I mean, you call on Allah. If you want istighatha, you want isti'ana, you want anything like that, you call on Allah. You don't call on the Prophet. You don't call on the Prophet's grandsons. You don't call on anybody. Call on Allah. Now, we're talking about the istighatha bil hayy, al-qadir al-hadir. That's a whole different issue. Like, for example, you're drowning and you say, Ya Fulan, help me, I'm drowning. That's permissible if he's what? Hadir. That he's what? He's got the ability to help you. The dude's sitting in the wheelchair, and you're like, Ya Fulan, help me out. And this guy's paralyzed in the wheelchair, like Stephen Hawkins or whatever that kafir is. If he's like that, then no, I mean, that's safaha. You know what I'm saying? That's foolishness.
This is also for the brother Hamza.
I mean, if you're drowning, you better just say La ilaha illallah. But I'm saying, you're gonna sit there and call on Hussein at that time, so yeah.
This is for the brother Hamza. Take it from me. Like, unfortunately, I grew up in America. I went to the public high school, I went to the public middle school, public elementary school. These non-Muslims, don't be deceived from the outside. They may look very, very close friends. Wallahi, they are not close. They deceive each other. They lie to each other. They backbite each other. They'll kill each other over some money.
Allah said it. تَحْسَبُهُمْ جَمِيعًا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى. Yeah, because they only agree on what? They're not agreeing on the principles of deen. They're going to be your friends based on what? Today, they're your friends based on you listen to the same music, or you like the same type of movies, or maybe you have the same sense of fashion. As soon as you change those things, maybe you start listening to a different music, now you gotta find what? Different friends. Now you end up hanging out with a different crowd. Akhi, what type of? This is not, you know what I'm saying? Qulubuhum shatta, akhi. Like their hearts are all dispersed. And even this you see amongst, even here, like look at the kuffar that run this country, akhi. They can't agree on anything, akhi. Cannot agree on anything. One goes to the right, one goes to the left, one jumps up down, one goes to the bottom. All of their hearts are all this, but this is good because wallahi, if their hearts were all together, unified on the shart that they want for this earth, they probably would have already destroyed everything. But it's a protection that their hearts are like that. Why would you want to? Look, you stay around people who remind you of, the fact. Like, how old are you? And how old do you expect to live? You don't know,
Maybe I'll live like till tomorrow.
I have a bunch of, I won't say a bunch of friends, but I have more than one, two, well, at least two that I can remember that died when they were 15.
Right.
One overdose, there's a girl, one girl I was close to in high school, she's all smiling in high school, but at home she's really sad. She just took a whole bunch of pills and killed herself. Her other friend used to, do a lot of drugs, and then he ended up swallowing. He had a seizure and he swallowed his tongue, and he died like that. So I mean, one was 15, I think the other one was maybe 16. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that. I quote this all the time in the khutbah, right? إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر man, my tongue's twisted now, I'm tired. تنتظر الصباح وإذا أصبحت فلا تنتظر المساء وخذ من صحتك لمرضك ومن حياتك لموتك. So if you make it to the evening, don't expect to make it to the morning. If you make it to the morning, don't expect to make it to the evening. We don't, like, life is not I mean, we don't know when we're going to die. Our ajal is already, our time of death has already been written. So with that knowledge, akhi, we can't be wasting time with people that are not going to bring any type of benefit in our life, because we don't know how much time we got. You might live, who's the Sahabi that we took last night from the Hadith yesterday? Sahabi Hakim ibn Hizam. Hakim ibn Hizam, he lived 120 years. 60 years in Jahiliyyah, 60 years in Islam. Don't expect to be Hakim ibn Hizam. That'd be beautiful if you could live like that with that type of knowledge and teaching the people and spreading hadith and spreading khair, because that gives you a long life of spreading khair. But we don't, we don't. And the thing that opened our eyes up to that, like me, I used to, be foolish, akhi. Even when I was in Yemen, akhi, I still had a lot of foolishness with me. When those wars started happening in Yemen, and I realized that every time that I walked out of my house, I felt like, I'm not going to make it home. So I started spending time with my kids, with my family. I started like every time that I said goodbye to my wife or kiss my kids before I walked out the door, I said, this could be the last time that I see them, And I had that in my mind every single day that, today I'm going to die. Today I'm going to die. One of these Houthis is going to see me. They're going to say, oh, you Wahhabi, shoot me and kill me. And it happened to other brothers. Allah protected me, alhamdulillah, but my mindset started to change. And that's where I started realizing, man, khalas, you don't have time to play these games. You don't have time, because the same thing that I was talking about in the khutbah, the last part of the khutbah, what was I talking about today? When these times of fitna come, akhi, you don't have. See, a lot of the people, they like these times of ease. So they can have fun. They can entertain themselves. They can relax. And then when the fitna comes, they don't know how to act. They don't know how to handle the fitna, because you didn't prepare for it. You handle the things that you prepare for. See, us, because we lived in these types of environments, we can see the signs of things coming. It's just, you see it. You start to prepare for it, and you realize that the time that you have now, you can't just sit here and just I'm not saying don't ever have fun, and you got to be like some type of robot, student of knowledge, just in books 24 hours a day. Enjoy yourself, take a time to enjoy yourself, relax, do things that you like that don't involve sticking your face in a book or doing research or doing anything. You have to take breaks every once, exercise, go out, with the brothers and get some pizza, drink some coffee, relax, In-N-Out burger, whatever. Nah, I'm not talking to y'all today. You almost got my son. He was about to get the out part. I'm like, nah, go. What'd you come home for? Go back to Hamza. You love Hamza so much. He buys you cheeseburgers. You go live with Hamza now. You go to.
Exactly. In the khutbah, when you said, what did you say? You said, in the word that people that pray, they were prepared for that. The people that don't pray, they weren't prepared for it.
Well, the thing is that the Prophet ﷺ said, al-ibadah fil-harj, fil-waqt al-qatl, wa fil-waqt al-fitna, kal-hijrata ilayya. That was the hadith that I was quoting, because even when I was in Yemen, when the war started with the Saudis, and the Yemen and Saudi and the Houthis are fighting against the Saudi, it's hard, man. You don't have any electricity. You have to go out while they're fighting to go get water, to go get food, to go get all these types of things, and it's dangerous. I'm walking out with a thobe and a beard. I'm not, even the Yemenis were like, come on, just, trim your. I'm like, look, man, if I trim my beard, I would never do that, inshallah. But I hope Allah protects my heart. Well, I never ever do that. But I would say if I were to do something like that, I said they're gonna accuse me of being some American spy. If I keep my beard, they're gonna say you're Wahhabi. I would rather them kill me saying I'm Wahhabi than kill me than saying, yeah, you're some American spy. So let them, whatever they're gonna do, whatever they're gonna do, let them do it. So I mean, I would go to, I would go to just the internet cafe to write my mother a letter. I hope he's sitting out there with an AK-47 on the table, right outside. They could kill me, Akhi. And who? They are the government. What are they gonna say? He's a Wahhabi, and he said kether, 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 and I killed him. He was reaching for something. What are they gonna do? They're the government. You know what I'm saying? So there's other times, I think I talked to y'all about that, right? Where I was like walking down the street, I was trying to go to the supermarket to get something for my wife. No, that was a different time. That was when the thing exploded in front of the woman. This is a different time. But this was before the war with Saudi. This is just when the Houthis took over Sana'a. So there's like on Shara Hedda in Sana'a, there's like, you have the Italian embassy. So you walk past the Italian embassy and there's like this real dark street. And there's a supermarket, it's called Jandul Supermarket. You go look this up, see if it's on Google Maps. Go type in Shara Hedda, type in the Italian embassy in Sana'a, see if Jandul is still there. But it's like a really dark street. And there's a big wall. So when you turn in the corner, you can't see like what's, I turned the corner and walked, and as soon as I turned the corner, there was a Hilux. Guess you know the Hilux, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what a Hilux is. You never heard of a Hilux, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
No, the overseas people know what a Hilux is, but here they don't have Hilux. Hilux is like one of those pickup trucks where they attach like 50 caliber machine guns to them, and and
Tacoma.
huh?
Like a Tacoma one.
Yeah, they use it for the deserts. So I turned around and there was a Hilux parked right there on the sidewalk with like 6, 7, I don't know how many Houthis were in there, all armed. And I just walked and you know that split second, like make a decision now. If you turn around, they're probably gonna think that you're up to something. And I said, just keep walking. And I had to walk past them. And I could hear, like they're like, sitting there running their mouths. I was like, y'all can run your mouths as long as a bullet doesn't go in my back, I don't care. So alhamdulillah, I made it to Jandul, but just that second, the whole time that I'm walking, what am I thinking? You think I'm thinking like, oh, well, I'm gonna go get some food and go home and have fun with my wife? I'm like, I'm about to die right now. I'm about to die right now. This is where Muhammad James's life ends. On this street, in this dark place, going to Jandul to get some food for his family. This is where the life comes to an end. That's it. And when I got to the door, I was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, woo, but I mean, this is just the reality, Akhi. And then you got to go home and worship, read Quran, and do all these types of things. And this is the type of environment that you're living in. You think that you're going to be able to do those things if you're not strong with your iman. And that's what we talked about over and over and over, where the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Mu'min al-Qawi khayrun wa habbu ila Allah min al-Mu'min al-Da'if. Because the Mu'min al-Qawi al-Iman, not the Qawi al-Jism. Because just because you're strong in your body, it don't mean that you can handle all that stuff. But when you're Qawi with your Iman, when your Iman is strong, you can handle those things. You live through those things and you can continue to worship and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other people, they start to compromise. They started compromising a lot. A lot of people started compromising in Yemen. Started making like little ittifaqat, like, Muhammad al-Imam and all these people making agreements and little contracts with the Houthis, and they're our brothers, because they start what? That fear. They don't want to admit it, but that's what it is. That iman is da'if. But if you have like the strong iman and you're able to continue on, you don't compromise with your deen in those situations. You continue practicing and practicing and practicing. And that's when you get that reward. Hijrah to ilayya. Imagine like you getting the reward of making hijrah to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam for doing this in this time. Akhi, that's amazing. But who's gonna be able to do that? Who can sit there while his family's like Akhi, like I told y'all before. The whole time that we're sitting there in Yemen during the war, what's the one food that I hate the most today? Oh, come on, there's one.
Zucchini, come on. Zucchini.
Even he knows. Because every single day we kept having rice and zucchini, rice and zucchini, rice and zucchini. I was like, it got to the point when that war ended, I said, wallahi, if you ever bring a zucchini in this house, that's it. I'm kicking all of y'all out. I could not buy zucchini, even till today, Akhi. I go like look in the supermarket, I can't even look at it till today.
You sell it at the restaurant.
Huh?
You sell it at the restaurant.
Yeah, you can keep it at the restaurant. Don't bring that stuff to my house.
He's like a, I let him.
والله أنا نسيته بالعربي حتى. بالعربي إيش هو؟
It's kind of like a big veggie.
والله نسيته. والله نسيته.
Yeah, just add on like, don't be deceived by the kuffar.
No, but not
Muslims here, especially our age. They're gonna try to delude you, and especially you're 15, right? Wait till you get
Zucchini is, I think, is Italian. I don't know what it is.
So they're gonna
Kusa. Yeah.
Kusa? Man, the kusa is the best, man.
Now when you have to eat it with rice every single day, man.
With rice?
Just no, because all we had was just mixed vegetables, and they throw a lot of that in there. So it's just like that took up the whole food, and because there's no gas, so you can't we had to take cold showers. Nobody could heat up water for gas. Nobody. So I was like literally, and you know how cold Sana'a gets. Like Sana'a is like how many meters above sea level? Thousands, I think. Thousands, like 4,000 or 5,000 meters above sea level. Dude, it gets cold in the winter. And we were taking cold showers. Because I had to have a shower every day after Fajr. Every day. I had to I pray Fajr, I take a shower before I go out. And man, that water was so cold, Akhi. I used to every morning the same thing. You never get used to it. You take that water, you dump it over your butt, and it takes the breath. You're like, like this. That's how cold the water is. You're like, and then you have to do it again, and you do it, but then after like 5 or 6 times, you're like, oh, this feels good. Then you're like, cool. Then I end up using all the water. But those first 2, boy. Whew.
Just for the last thing, I know remember the statement of Prophet Muhammad, this hadith is from the Prophet where he mentioned he was like, and obviously the Prophet he's more merciful to us than our own mothers. He said, "La tusahib illa mu'min." Do not befriend except a believer.
I want to do online school. I have a lot of Muslims.
It's not about online schools. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. We can't have an unbeliever friend when you have a lot of Muslims friends around you.
I was just going to do online school.
But you still got to be careful with the Muslims.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I said, be around people that remind you of your duties as a Muslim. Remind you that you're Muslim.
He's friends with my little brother, right?
Rahman.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I didn't hang out with him, but
What's your Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad, yeah, Muhammad.
Muhammad Ali? He's in Yemen now, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Yemen. But he should be back like in 3 months, inshallah.
3 months? Oh, they're staying the whole summer.
Last year, I told you last year I was home alone for like 6 months. I was just home alone.
You guys have a restaurant here?
Yeah, it's on. I'll say it off camera.
Who's running the restaurant now?
He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim brother.
Okay, so they got somebody trustworthy too. All right.
I don't say trustworthy, but he
runs it.
Yeah, he runs it.
He's not trustworthy, but he keeps it going. Though, don't worry.
But he has like cameras all around. So if he tries to make any funny moves, he has like 8 cameras on him. It's like very hard.
Yeah, but it's gonna take him like 26 hours to get back here to do something to the guy on the plane. Well, no, actually, it's gonna take a lot longer because from Yemen he has to fly to Jordan, right?
Jordan or Egypt.
Yeah. So, but generally, to Jordan, and you gotta wait for flights. It's not like flights are going out every day. So it's not.
My cousin, he was waiting in Jordan for 4 days. In Jordan from New York to Jordan. Now you have to wait 4 days because he still needs a plane ticket to Yemen, and that's the very hard part is to get a plane ticket either from Egypt or Jordan to Yemen.
It's a lot easier now, but like back during the earlier parts of the war, sometimes you have to wait like months. You have to book the flight months in advance just to get the flight to go to Egypt to go to Jordan. But now I think it's more set up now. Yemeni is functioning again, right? All right, man. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
We let the new Hamza give the adhan. Hey, it's right there. Oh, fine.